like they always say, this is football and anything can happen. And I saw something that happened, and sometimes I feel guilty. I feel like I always go against some coaches and they end up getting sacked. I feel guilty about Julian Nagelsmann. It's surprising for most people, and it's disappointing to some other people. And for some people like me, it came more like a relief, more than surprise or disappointment. Talking about Julian Nagelsmann, is a 35-year-old man that carved niche for himself, uh, putting RB Leipzig back on the furrow at the age of 29. Did wonders with the team. Went to the Champions League, made a name for himself. I think he won the German Cup as well against all odds. He did pretty well, solidly well for himself at Leipzig. Came into Bayern Munich, and you start seeing these crazy ideas coming from this guy, a guy that has been solid and particularly should I say, more solid and more consistent when it was with RB Leipzig. He turned the tide of the team, and those are the words of Oliver Kahn against him when he was sacked. That we have a better team than what we see on a week to week basis. Our league position does not show the quality that we have, and this could be questioned. This could be argued against. Sadio Mane is not the Sadio Mane of Liverpool. Tramote can never, in this world, any form of fashion, replace Lewandowski, and these are things that needs to be considered as well. They were not properly replaced for this guy, and but what we see of this guy, putting players like Gerby on the bench, Leo Sane when his feet could be playing from the middle, Jamal Mosella, losing, so to speak, because Joshua Kimi came out today to say he did not lose the dressing room, but that's not the feelers that we got from analysts and social commentators, sport commentators across the globe. They said he lost the dressing room, particularly Thomas Muller and Manuel Neuer. And these are big guys in the dressing room. These are big personalities. Kachi, I'm going to start with you on this one. Like I said, I'm not surprised. Sorry, I'm really caught by surprise, but more relieved than surprise. I don't think he made the most out of that team. And I'm not talking about just this season. I'm talking about last season as well. The way they finished the Champions League, winning the league is their birthright. So winning the league would not count towards you doing well as a Bayern Munich coach or tactician. And but the funniest thing is, like, okay, you got Thomas Tuchel. Is it better? Thomas Tuchel of Borussia Dortmund, yes, 100%. But Thomas Tuchel that I saw at PSG and lately, or most recently at Chelsea, I'm not even confident. And I'm like, okay, let's see how that goes. How do we take this news? Give us a dissection of it, Kachi.
Obviously, it came as a surprise, the timing of it. But then it also lets you, for me, this is how I see it. If there is a pragmatic country in this world, I believe people will say the most pragmatic will be the Germans. They don't wallow in their mistakes. They are quick. And this is not to trigger anyone, and I apologize if what I'm going to say next triggers anyone. But this is a country that within 30 years entered into 2 wars with the world. That is how pragmatic they are. Once they believe in something, they go into it headlong. Now, the team believed Nagelsmann was the next phase for them after what Hans Flick, I believe Flick was his name, had done,
Yeah,
and his subsequent movements to the national team. They believed in that wonder kid, Nagelsmann. Now they have not seen what they expected to see, which is transition to the next level, elevating the team, elevating the style of play, making them more cohesive than they even were, especially considering that 75% of the national team the German national team is made up of the nucleus of this Bayern Munich team. So being in
Bayern
the
Munich, yeah.
inability to see that cohesiveness, I believe, is what also made them pragmatically bite the bullet, cut their losses, and move on. They've never hesitated. The same man everybody is hailing now as Don Carlo. Let's not forget that he was also unceremoniously bundled out of this same
Let go,
Bayern
yeah.
Munich we're looking at.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is maybe not every whiz kid is indeed a whiz kid. We thought Graham Potter was a whiz man until he got to what is now a tough bone that he's been unable to crack. And it's shaping up to be the same for Julian Nagelsmann. He will bounce back, I agree. But you asking me what I feel, this is what I feel. A team that clearly knows its identity, clearly knows which direction they want to go, have clearly defined KPIs, and they are measuring their current position with their set targets and see that there is no
Set
goal
goals, yeah.
congruence, and they can immediately cut their losses and move forward. That tells me that team is very well organized. And I'm not knocking the Chelsea
Yeah.
team, but you cannot say the same for Chelsea. You cannot say the same for Tottenham Hotspur. They've had worse performances than Bayern Munich. I mean, Bayern Munich is playing in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and they did not. They probably felt they needed pragmatism to get through Manchester City. That the current way they were set up, there was no way they would win
Will
a
not afford them.
two-legged game over City. So they need that new coach bounce back ability. And why I think the Thomas Tuchel experiment would work. Nagelsmann was, you talk of Tuchel struggling in France, struggling in England by and large. Germany is a comfort zone. It is a city he has won the league in. It's a city, a country he has dominated with the second best team in the land. Now, him being in the best team in the land, knowing that he is a master of the arts in that league
Change
gives
it.
him some. He's not starting from the scratch. He's just going to continue from where he
Yeah.
stopped. And that's why I believe
Very left,
that
yeah.
them doing it right now and getting the Tuchel back and not just any unknown is what makes this, it will be almost seamless. Whether this now helps them beat City, I don't know. The jury is still out for that. But I admire a team that knows where it wants to go, sees that they are currently not going there, and they take a drastic decision to correct the dying ship.
Almost immediately. Okay, thank you very much for that, Kachi. Shay, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to ask you probably the same question, but it's the sack justified? That's number one. And is Tomotuku going to do better?
Yeah.
Shay,
Uh, yeah. Anyway, I think depends on the context that we look at it from. Uh, Talking about the first question now, if it is justified. If you look at the young man's record at Bayern Munich, I don't think it's that bad. I think
yeah, it's not.
84 games, 60 wins, I think 14 draws and 10 losses thereabouts. It's not so bad, but of course, the hierarchy sees something different. You also made mention of him losing the dressing room. That's the worst thing that can happen to a young coach. It's easier for much more advanced and
Hold
experienced
it.
coaches because you can
Express.
believe that they've developed, they've been in that situation before. They know what to do. They know when they've gone wrong and what they've done right. So the experience easily solves that problem for them. But a young coach at that level, we're talking about the likes of Muller and Noah that are even older than this young man. It's only a one. It's going to be a one winner. I can assure you that. But guess what? My mind tells me that I keep asking that question in my head. When Lewandowski left Bayern Munich, why not try your best to move these guys also? on. But obviously, they tend to be the probably the colossus of Bayern Munich, talking about Noah and Muller. But I think those two guys
Amola.
can actually be the problem to Nagelsmann's future. So it was not really that surprising that it was sacked. But for me, I think it's a bit of a rash decision from the hierarchy, from Bayern's hierarchy. Your
From the
second
hierarchy.
quest, your second question is about Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel was unlucky in Chelsea. Anyway, a bit lucky. He won the Champions League, and afterwards, Abramovich. Okay, Russia happened afterwards, and everything came downwards. I think Tuchel probably be the best man to take that reins at the moment, if you ask me. He's a German, he understands the league. Like Kachi rightly said, he won the league with the Borussia Dortmund, which normally is a second fiddle to Bayern Munich in the league. Every coach that won something with probably a league with Borussia Dortmund, we always look at a coach and be like, okay, I think this is the guy for the future. And that's why Jurgen Klopp is at Liverpool as we speak. So I think he's the right man for the job at the moment. And I think he's going to do well. Bayern possess a wealth of physically fit and strong and technical talent. Anybody with a sound technicality can easily, do well in the league. But we're talking about Bayern. Champions League is the prize. For now, it might not
Yeah.
win the Champions League, but I think he's going to do well in Bayern Munich because he understands the league, and I think he understands the players too.
The players as well. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Shay. I wouldn't really disagree with both your assertion in regards to this. I totally agree with you guys. Tuchel, the jury is out on him. I don't trust him. I'm trying to say this. I don't trust him. I feel it. I just hope it reverts back to how we used to play at Dortmund and not this let's play five guys, not concede and get it. Because that will not get him the positivity that he needs at Bayern Munich. They don't just look at the results. If it was just the results, like Sheyi said, then Nagelsmann will still be the coach of Bayern Munich. It goes beyond the results. Anyways, we're talking about one exceptional player. Uh, 2000 in 2001, 2002, scored 6 goals for the national team in 9 games in 2016, 2017. Scored 15 goals in World Cup qualifiers in 9 games, just 9 games. Euros, 5 goals. 2001, 5 goals. 16, 3 goals. Confederations Cup, 2 goals in 4 games. And we're talking about no other guy but Cristiano Ronaldo that became the most. He has the most goals in the history of international football, breaking his own record as a matter of fact. And now he has the most number of appearances for any international football player in the history of the world. 197 games and has scored a whopping 120 goals for his national team. And don't forget that this guy started as a young winger in the team. I think it's Euro 2004, if I'm not mistaken, the one hosted by Portugal that they lost against Greece in the finals. And this guy has gone ahead to carve the niche for himself and show the world that I just not just a prodigious youngster. He has grown in stature to become probably the best and the deadliest striker after Ronaldo de Lima, in my own opinion. Kachi, we are not here to apologize. Cristiano Ronaldo, he has gotten all the accolades that he needs in his life. There's nothing new to talk about this guy. Just one word for his national career for Ronaldo.
Phenomenal.
Oh, a summary.
Phenomenal in every sport, especially with how technology has advanced. We've seen that with proper training regimen, proper diet, you are able to extend your career for as long as you want. Although we should also say, even with all this technological advancement, not everyone seems disciplined enough to take this direction to play for as long as they can. We've seen Tom Brady do it in the NFL. We're seeing LeBron do it now in basketball. And Ronaldo right now doing it in football. Uh, it is not easy. For guys, we've played at different levels, even if we did not make it professionally. We've played at different levels. Sunday side, roadside soccer, to what we call OGO in Nigeria, to semi-professional Sunday football. Even to get yourself up after a Sunday afternoon or Saturday evening game to perform excellently the next day takes a lot of work. But this guy has done it
Yeah.
consistently at the highest level for God knows how long. Two more goals today, this on Sunday against Luxembourg to take his tally to God knows, maybe it's 1,000,001 now. I don't care. But it's a testament to his character, testament to his discipline, and I salute him for that.
All right, perfect. Shay, summary of this health phenomena.
Yeah, I think that's the best word to use for Ronaldo. And as a Man U fan, you can easily look back and remember the first time Ronaldo, burst into the stage, and with the way he plays from the wing, and it's so surprising the way he adapted his role to a center forward. He scored, but we should not also forget that he scored most of his goals playing from that left wing. That shows that
Yeah, yeah.
dynamic, what's it called, touch to his game all over the years. He lost pace, he converted to a CF, and he was still banging in the goals. Close to 30 or over 30, he went to Juventus, was still the guy there. And that shows someone that can play football anywhere, in any team, and still be the big Kauna. Uh, Cristiano Ronaldo, like you said, we don't need to eulogize Ronaldo. He has done everything. He's won everything. I think even though the World Cup is still there for him to win, but you can still put him at the pedestal of other players, other top players that have won the World
Top
Cup.
legends.
He has
Yeah,
done it all. He has transcended the generations, and I think that's a word for
yeah,
it. A
yeah,
player that transcends the
yeah,
generation.
yeah,
Kudos to the young
yeah.
man.
Yeah. Just to buttress what you said now, I posted a picture on our Instagram page where it was with Ricardo, the goalkeeper then of Portugal, the Portuguese goalkeeper. And now the guy, Ricardo, is the goalkeeper trainer for the national team. Ronaldo played with him, and now he is Ronaldo's trainer as well.
Another
Anyways,
interesting
just before
fact:
we. Okay.
Ricardo Carvalho also played with Cristiano Ronaldo, but is now part of the coaching staff with
Part
Roberto
of the
Martinez.
coaching team.
Can you,
I just remembered one
that's
thing
that's
I
that's
wanted
that's
to
that's
say.
crazy.
I read something
Uh-huh.
recently about Anderson. I don't know if you guys remember Anderson, the
Yeah,
Brazilian Anderson.
yeah, yeah.
He said something.
The
He said
Brazilian,
the
yeah,
only
the one
difference,
that
yeah,
play on
the
mine.
difference between him and Cristiano Ronaldo is the mentality. That if he can, possess that kind of mentality, he should be the best footballer
Player in the
forever.
world.
That the mentality of Cristiano
Yeah,
Ronaldo
yeah, yeah.
is
Was just
It's
different.
amazing.
something else.
Amazing.
That it's
Just
not about
different.
just skill. It's not
Yeah,
about
just
just
different.
that mentality is just there that I'm the best and I'm the best. I'll keep working till I'll be the best. And guess what? It
Yeah,
remained the
yeah.
best for a long time.
He's the best player in the whole of Saudi Arabia right now. Anyway, so don't forget that. He's got a wonderful free kick before he came for internationals. Oh, it's just the truth. He has, and like you said, he has done it everywhere. Came to in Portugal, he was still a young star, so I wouldn't rate Portugal his career in Portugal. But he came to England, he conquered England, went to Spain. Everybody thought the Raul record would never be broken. He broke it, became the Mr. Champions League, came back to United, still was bossing United before he left. And now in Saudi Arabia, bossing Saudi Arabia. and probably would. I keep telling anybody that cares to listen, the highest goal scorer in the history of Anasa has just 198 goals. Ronaldo, if he stays there for 3 seasons, is going to break that record.
You can also forget what he did when he went to Juventus.
So Juventus, exactly. He went to Juventus, boss Juventus, scored in consecutive game, highest job, whatever it is that he did with Juventus. He did crazy, glamorous things. And I'm not here to compare him to anybody. Yeah, I'm not here to compare him with anybody. And when I say anybody, I'm talking about the midget Lionel Messi. I'm not here to compare both of them, but the kudos needs to be given to Ronaldo for what he has done with the sport and the fact that he did with different various teams. Ronaldo, a genius. Messi, a better genius. We'll leave it at that. And anyways, we'll move to a more controversial topic, and that will be everybody keep talking about Bukayo Saka. Like Bukayo Saka is the best thing, like Kachi would say, after sliced bread. Bukayo Saka is a wonderful player. No doubt about it. He has 125 appearances in the Premier League. He has scored 29 goals, has 25 assists, 17 clean sheets as a midfielder. That means and don't forget, out of these 125 appearances that he has in the Premier League, he played some as a left back. Yellow cards 18. Now I'm looking at a player like Phil Foden. Foden started his career. Like he busted into the main team before Saka did with us now. 121 appearances, 33 goals, 17 assists, less than Bukayo's own. Kept lower clean sheet than Bukayo. But of course, he has 4 goals more than Bukayo. Don't forget, I said Bukayo started his career with us now as a left back or as a wing back. So that's another indices or indication. And I'm looking at the whole English setup. We have players like Jack Grealish that was turned to an inverted left wing or left forward with Manchester City. That is not his natural position for anybody that cares to say. He's your typical number 10. Look at Phil Foden, look at Marcus Rashford, and that guy that went to a toxic environment, Jadon Sancho, that they've deflated, if not because of the help of what we're seeing with ETH right now. They've deflated all his confidence. We look at the guy that was allegedly an assaulter in Greenwood. Of course, he's expecting a baby with the said lady that he assaulted, and everybody's criminalizing him right now because of a simple mistake that is allegedly. They cannot even bring it back to Manchester United, but that's the topic for another day. I'm disappointed in United, I'm disappointed in the press, making this guy a victim, and whoever the accuser is with him, and nobody's talking about it like it's a normal thing. But of course, we are all hypocrites in this world. We can come on the show and talk about things, and we'll leave out our own bad parts out as well. So I'm not going to be too criticizing of that. But back to the narrative, I'm talking about Bukayo Saka. Looking at this setup, looking at these guys, Marcus Rashford, Greenwood, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish. I don't know who else I'm missing out of their maybe right forward or left forward. If I'm missing anybody else, you guys can just chip in for me. But my question is Bukayo Saka really the best out of all these guys? Or Bukayo Saka is reaping the reward of a less pressurizing environment, a more stable environment, a very good football club coach, and Bukayo Saka himself. And for anybody that cares to know, Bukayo Saka is a staunch Christian, is level-headed, is a religious guy, and is from a very good and solid background. Don't forget this boy is a Nigerian. He might be playing for England, but he's a Nigerian. He has a very unstable family background, discipline background. Do you think these are the more contributing factors to it than just footballing ability? And Sheyi, I'm going to start with you in comparison with these guys.
Yeah, I think you mentioned quite a lot of players, and I would like to first divide the players. We are not talking racism here, but we need to mention it because this set of players were actually exposed to a kind of racial abuse after, was it about after the Euro finals, right?
Euro Cup, yeah.
Yeah,
Against it.
I think we mentioned three out of these guys. We mentioned Rashford, Sancho, Saka, and the
Sancho.
likes of Foden, right? And those three actually were exposed to racial abuse after they lost penalties and all what happened. If you notice, quite, I think they all had the issue to actually get themselves up to start playing well in the league. For Sancho, for Rashford, unfortunately, they were playing for teams that was actually low in confidence. But Saka was able to pick himself up playing for Arsenal. Also, we need to understand that the Arsenal team also plays together the way the way they play their football. Fluent, and almost everybody take a touch before you see them get into the box in the first place. So I think that works quite better for Saka. We also mentioned his background. If you notice that that's obviously a very key aspect of Saka's
Factor.
backbone and his confidence, and I think his balance over the years. If you
Mhm.
look at some of these English boys, let me start with Jesse Lingard. You recall the issue we had like 2 years ago. Family issue, was struggling with
Yeah.
family matters, which
Mm-hmm.
affected his ball
Yeah.
playing. I think similar thing happened to
Yeah.
Sancho also. Apart from him being dropped from the World Cup, I think that was just addition to a family issue that affected him, and that
You
was
should.
what warranted ETH to help out to to rejuvenate the young man. So for me, I think Saka is just in a better environment compared to these guys. And if you notice the resurgence of Rashford in recent months, and his celebration when he puts the hand here. When ETH was asked about the celebration, eventually the truth came out that Rashford understand now that everything is here. You need to believe in yourself in the first place and shut out all the noise around you. And that is what
Noise
he's
around
doing at the moment. I want to believe that's the same thing ETH is trying to do for Sancho, what he has done for Rashford, and we've seen the difference. Saka happened to be in a better environment apart from his background, and I think the Arsenal team is actually also playing well at the moment. For me, my answer to your question after all this being said is that Saka is the man of the moment. I think the best thing for him to enjoy this particular streak and to try as much as possible to know that there is another step to this. Saka is not yet a world class player. I can say that, I can defend it anyway. I think Saka is on the right path to become a world class player if he does not,
World Cup. Yeah.
yeah, tumble.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much, Shay. Kacha, I'm gonna come to you. Same question. Do you really think Saka is better than these guys? Do you really think these extra contributory factors are the reason why Saka is the star boy that he is today? And this is coming off the wonderful goal that he scored in their game against Ukraine, and got a goal and an assist as well. The man of the match, and questions are being asked about this kid. Is he really that good, or we should just admit that he is that good?
Um, Deborah, I know with over several sports, you know how strongly I believe consistency must always play a factor in
It's
deciding
key.
who is the greatest or who is good, who is not good. The first point I wanted to touch on was what Sheyi also touched on, his mental fortitude. This was a boy who just 2 years ago, as a teenager, he wasn't even 21, he was 19 years old, faced one of the worst racist abuse any that even an adult We've seen adults, people older than
Struggle
him,
with.
cry and leave the pitch due to such kind of instances. Um, and he has kept his head. Talking. So, if you're asking whether his faith, him having faith in God, coming from a stable home, does not play a factor, I want to tell you that it plays a major factor. Most of the black stories we hear is, oh, I grew up without my dad. I was raised by my mom, and it and you see them struggle. It lets you know that that male figure, that training that they would get from a father figure was missing. Hence, the reason why they struggle in certain aspects of their life. Saka has been blessed. I don't want to say fortunate. It's a blessing to come from a stable home in the kind of world we live in now.
Word.
So Saka has
Word.
been
Word.
blessed to have
Word.
that kind of background. But it's not one thing to have, it's one thing to have that kind of background. It's another thing for you to leverage it as well. He has leveraged it. His faith in God is strong, but his work ethic and mental strength is also something to give him credit for. Out of all these three people, they've all faced challenges, although not the same challenge. Let's be honest. Saka's own was a racist
Yeah.
abuse. Um, Rashford was an issue with in his relationship that affected his game. Lingard also faced what he's facing. Sancho is trying to adapt to a new, more bigger club, stuff like that. But the one thing that has been constant throughout all this is Saka's consistency. And if you are not going to give a young man credit for being consistent in spite of this, he literally did not use his words to win back the English team. I remember before that Saka used to struggle for one of the attacking slots in the English national team because Raheem Sterling locked down one slot. It was Kane, Sterling, then the
Yeah.
rest of you fight for the last row. But
Someone else
now I totally believe Saka is one of the first names on Gareth Southgate's
on
list.
the team
Um,
sheet.
so to re-echo what she said, he is the rave of the moment, and raves come and go. So it is possible that at some point, 2 years down the line, we may not say this, but you cannot predict the future accurately if you don't take into consideration the antecedents you've seen in the past. Based on how he dealt with the
Yeah.
Euro debacle, based on how he has handled himself now that Arsenal is a title challenging team again, it is easy for me
See.
to say
Yeah.
he will remain consistent. Even if he doesn't one day become the best player in the world, he will still be mentioned. You know how it's just a funny joke how in 2005 Messi, Michelobi, and Taye Taiwo stood together with their golden ball and all that. Uh, the difference between
Yeah.
those three people was Messi's consistency in getting better, in being there for his team. Now we're still talking about Messi at age 35, and Mikel has retired. Tai Taiwo, I don't know where he is right now. So it does not matter whether he ultimately becomes the best, but if based on his antecedents, based on how he has handled adversity, is anything to go by. I definitely think Saka, out of these people you have mentioned, will still be heads and shoulders above
Be
them.
the
But I
Primus.
agree with Shei.
Above
He
all
is
them. Yeah.
not yet a world-class talent, but is definitely currently better than these guys.
Okay. Just a quick one. Antonio Conte has left Tottenham Hotspur by mutual consent. Effective immediately.
Not
That's not surprising after criticizing the board.
Breaking news.
And
Breaking
yes,
news.
Nagelsmann called
yeah.
it.
Breaking news.
Yeah, so Nagelsmann going to Spurs will likely happen. Wow.
That would be nice. I would like Spurs to take up another mediocre coach. That's
But
good.
but 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 but, but Debo, I also learned that during
Yeah.
the past couple of weeks that some of the Tottenham players were
Uh-huh.
talking to what's his name, this former PSG coach, their former
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. Pochettino to come back. Yeah.
Pochettino.
Pochettino's name might also be coming up. Interesting times.
Yeah, that was the Jesse time. Yeah, I tell ya. Nagelsmann, Pochettino, and from what we heard the reason why Bayern snapped TT as early as this was because TT was speaking to Real Madrid and as well as Spurs. So they don't want to be in a bid war for the coach and they snapped him up as quickly as they could. So probably it's going to be a coach merry-go-round. Conte definitely will be going back to Italy, find a club in Italy. That's most definitely. And Pochettino could be coming back to the Premier League. I don't want Pochettino to come back to sports. As a matter of fact, I'll prefer to go with Nagelsmann and have another 30 time for another 1 year because Nagelsmann is just going to be Nagelsmann as always. But don't forget, he's still a prodigious coach. If he keeps his head down, it could actually sports team is not as bad as people make it say. It could actually make something out of that sports team. But of course, United are trying to snap Harry Kane in the summer. United doesn't want to pay as much as £100 million. But we'll see how that will end. United, some people in United want Victor Osimhen, but of course, United itself, herself, is in the middle of a sale. With some crazy people wanting 50% to go to the fans, the Qatari bringing out the money, Radcliffe, they want you to stay within England. It's a good one. Anyways, that's the end and that's the show for us today. Thank you very much for studying till we see you again next week. My name is Oladija Adeboye, and don't forget, we are on Twitter, News Instanta, and News Instanta1 on Instagram, and of course we have at Kachi _Nwadi, and of course at Shea Claire to be followed for all the best analysis and all your latest football news. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you again next week. Bye.